Hi, I'm the Plant Gals, and today I wanted to talk about Facebook Marketplace, probably one of my least favorite things on the entire planet. We have a very complex relationship going a long way back. It's a little toxic. You know, we kind of cut contact and then I log back in and everything starts all over again. Now, most of my experience on Facebook Marketplace is actually as a seller. I have once again started the toxic cycle of getting back into Facebook Marketplace. Behind me is a disgusting reptile enclosure. Would you believe that this is my disgusting reptile enclosure? I wasn't the one who made it disgusting though. Thank you, Facebook Marketplace, for this disgusting reptile enclosure. Now, one of the common things I find when I buy things on Facebook Marketplace is that people don't really want to clean them. And so today, I thought it would be fun to clean out this disgusting reptile enclosure that I got on Facebook Marketplace for a steal of a deal and talk about my experience with Facebook Marketplace overall. If you could guess what's been in this 3x3x2 enclosure, I'll give you a second. On reptile carpet, it was a bearded dragon. This is not what you should keep your bearded dragon in. So there's actually still bearded dragon poop in here. And so I really wanted it to just dry out for honestly, a whole month. The funny thing about it though, is I don't know, I've never really looked into buying the reptile tables and stands and stuff. So I don't really know enough about it, but this enclosure also came with this massive cabinet. And I don't know anything about painting, but in my last video, I bought some paint. So I'm going to paint that at some point. I won't tell you what's going in it yet because I'm waiting till I have 100 subscribers. And when I have 100 subscribers, I'll tell you who's going in here, not someone I currently have. It's 2020 and there's a bunch of plants I want to buy that I can't buy because the stores are closed mostly. And the ones that are open, they don't have the goodies. Now, I've watched so many videos on YouTube and I guess this is a Plant Gal's origin story in a weird way. So I've learned that the place to start looking is Facebook Marketplace. I actually didn't even have a Facebook. I still don't use Facebook, but I do have a secret Plant Gals Facebook Marketplace. I started as a buyer, and you weren't really supposed to meet up with anyone. That was very frowned upon. Oh! So that's how it started. And then I started realizing that first of all, I was buying a lot of plants and I wanted more money to buy plants. And also, I was kind of having too many plants. And I've been experimenting with propagating a lot, which is always a good thing. So I was making more of my own plants, but I don't like keeping duplicates. It's like the collector in me, maybe. Well, now I have a bunch of plants and I want to sell them. Also, sometimes I buy things and be like, oh, what is this? This is some base mat that they put in here, some vinyl or something. I don't know what we were even attempting with this enclosure. I honestly became really good at it. I would say over the years, probably made about $10,000 selling plants on Facebook Marketplace, to be honest. Something like that. And I've been doing it for quite a few years and I've had some big sales where I think the most I've sold something for on Facebook Marketplace is maybe $300 or $400. My parents didn't want people coming to the house, so I honestly mostly did delivery, which I don't really do anymore. I don't even know what this is. Is this a leaf? Ugh. It's a pain in the butt to deliver everything and people are really annoying. I didn't charge for delivery either. Even if it was a $5 plant, I'd drive across the city and deliver it. Does that make any sense? Monetarily? No, but it's what I did. It's just not gonna be flattering of me, I don't think. When it comes to this one chick, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to e-transfer me so that it's actually worth it for me to drive across the city. And she's like, oh my God, you're gonna scam me. I'm not doing that. And she totally lost it on me. And then I was like, man, I don't really want to do Facebook Marketplace anymore. Ooh, we put some shed in here. Gross. Yeah, that chick totally lost it on me when I asked her to e-transfer in advance. I even said I'd do half, whatever. And I was like, wow, I don't really have any interest in doing this anymore. That was round one. But I will tell you one of my favorite stories from that time. My first and best Facebook Marketplace stories was I drove really far this time to pick, this was actually a buy. I was picking up Hoya hirschkleana variegated, I'm pretty sure. I will put in a pic. And the Hoya hushkleana is a really beautiful plant. And this woman gifted me, like, she had so many cuttings of Dischidias, and she gifted me all these Dischidia. I've sold most of them now. I kept them for years, but I have sold most of them now. I still have one, my Dischidia green apple, I got as a 2-leaf cutting from her. And she gifted me all these cuttings, and it was so wonderful. So even when I try to sell now, if I have like some extra like wet sticks or just like kind of one-off cuttings, I do try and like gift people them, unless they're buying something like really tiny, then I just don't care. Or if they're rude, then I don't include anything. But yeah, so that's what I did, is I got all those really sick cuttings, and yeah, I was just kind of buying and selling. At that time, it was a lot more buying than the years following. Moved into res, and keep in mind, it's still COVID. So now, you know, I'm really busy with school, and I was like, you know, I live in an apartment building, I don't have to have people coming into my place. I think that I should just be like, hey, can you meet me in the lobby? And honestly, that worked okay. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I had a fine time asking people to meet me in the lobby, but COVID is a weird time, and I feel like a lot of people really wanted someone to talk to. So I would get some people with some very crazy opinions standing in my lobby and telling me their opinions on all sorts of COVID-y things. During COVID, that was a little bit weird, so that wasn't as much fun. I think the reason that so many of these opinions were brought on too during that time was because it was a dorm, so the masking rules and stuff like that were extremely strict. People did not like that when they rocked up to my place, which I was like, you're just standing in the lobby, like, who cares? Just chill. But people did care, and that's when I got my first 1-star reviews. It's also when, you know, I moved to Edmonton, I went to Lace and Leaves for the first time. Best plant shop on the entire planet. Was then, is now even better. Yeah, I sold a lot of plants out of my dorm, and I was kind of like a spectacle to the plant community at that time, because people would be like, oh, can I see your plant collection? Like, it's kind of hard to believe that you have all these crazy plants, and then I'd show them my dorm, and they wouldn't really even believe like what they were seeing, to be honest, because yeah, my plant collection was crazy. And you know, I did a dorm tour of my plants because I was the girl who has way too many plants in her dorm. But it's also how I started to make connections in the plant community, especially in Edmonton, because at that time, you know, it was really hard to make connections. So everybody was doing it through Facebook and Facebook Marketplace, but you know, there'd be people that you'd be talking to online, and I didn't actually technically always sell through Marketplace. One of my better strategies were selling was, and people still do this, to do like a purge, but it was very popular during COVID. So you'd like post a bunch of pictures of a bunch of plants, people would like comment on them, be like mine, and then they'd pick up the plants from you. And I really like this method, to be honest, of selling, because then I didn't have to create a bunch of posts, and it was in a group. So like, I don't know. I mean, if you weren't very nice, like people in the group would say something, but overall it was like really easy to make some good money. Sometimes people were just so rude to me, and I was really just trying to be nice, and I've always sold my plants for a lot less than other people. And one thing that really stood out to me is I had an Aglaonema spilled milk, which is a very uncommon plant, especially in Canada. And so I was really excited to have this plant, and I propagated it successfully, which is not easy to do. And I sold it on Facebook Marketplace for 40 bucks. I logged back in, and somebody has posted it for 240 bucks or something like that. And I was like, ugh, I was so over it, because I just want to be nice to the community. Like, do I sell plants for a lot? Sometimes, yeah, especially when I need money. But most of the time, I honestly sell them for really, really reasonable prices, because I just want people to enjoy the same plants that I enjoy. That sucked. It sucked so much. Oh my God. And that really, I don't know, it just made me hate it. And yeah, I haven't really sold very much on Facebook Marketplace since, and it's only because people are so weird. And I actually really I've never really had an issue with like younger people when I've sold to, but some of the older people that I'd sell to didn't like that I was like so into plants or so knowledgeable, and they'd be like, oh, you're so young. And to be fair, I do look very young, but I also am very young, and they couldn't understand how I could have all these really rare, cool plants so young, and you know, they'd like plants their whole life, and you know, they'd maybe never own some of the plants that they're looking at through my window. So people got very like spiteful towards me, and I really didn't like it because I was just trying to share my knowledge and share my plants. Oh god, this thing is gross. So quick break, this is actually the cabinet that it came with. Like Exo Terra, I don't know if Exo Terra does specifically, but some companies actually do sell like matching ones to go with. Looks like they had their reservoir right there. Matching cabinets to go with. So yeah, part of the reason this one was so cool was that I got the cabinet, but it's not in the world's best shape. Like it does have some damage in places and stuff. Essentially this came for free with it, which was cool. So yeah, and I'm, you know, just moving into my first place, so having a nice little thing like this is awesome. Also, ignore that one because it's not as nice, but this is a big flex. These are my mom's fiddle leaf figs. One's name is George. This one's name is George. The other one doesn't have a name. He hasn't earned it yet. These plants are maybe, this one's maybe 5 years old. This one's maybe 3, something like that, 2 or 3. She's very proud of them, so I'll show them off in this video. I just went around the edges with a cloth. This is still dripping, but I just don't really care, so that's nice and clean. Of course, oh my gosh. Voila. Yeah, so I don't know, are you guys fine with getting things off Facebook Marketplace, even if they're dirty, if you know you're getting a deal? So I'm back at my actual house, and I've decided to relocate for the last part of this video because I wanted to talk about one last thing that I forgot I wanted to talk about. So despite people flipping my plants and people just in general being total weirdos, because honestly that's just like life, there is one thing that I love more than anything about Facebook Marketplace. I know this because I know a ton of sellers, but not everybody knows this about Facebook Marketplace, and it's that a lot of your favorite plant businesses actually started out selling plants from their kitchen table, doing the weird deliveries on Facebook Marketplace. And I know that that might sound silly, but it's actually very true. And a lot of businesses still operate using Facebook Marketplace because it can work as free advertising. You can put, you know, something up there that'll actually send people to your physical location, your actual shop. Or people just have entire businesses where they're able to sell from Facebook Marketplace. And that is kind of one of the biggest things, is that, you know, I've made a lot of money. Well, not a lot. Well, depends what you think a lot of money is. It's been over quite a few years, but I've made some decent money on Facebook Marketplace. Definitely not a business for me. However, it is a little bit of a side hustle, and some people have side hustles, and some people started on Facebook Marketplace and they scale up to full brick and mortar businesses. And I think having that availability and accessibility is so amazing for a lot of businesses that are just starting out. And I think there's a lot of people who just start selling plants on Facebook Marketplace and realize that this could actually be like a full gig for them. The thing that's really neat is, you know, a lot of the people that do those hobbies it's not necessarily hobbies for them. You know, they may have disabilities or there's other things that they can't do. So, you know, having the ability for somebody to just come to your house, pick something up and make money, I think is really amazing. So yes, I do have a toxic relationship. And right now I will be crawling back to Facebook Marketplace because I do have a lot of propagations I want to sell. I think that that's kind of overall it. You know, do you have any problems with Facebook Marketplace? Have you had any weird encounters? Do you have a hard time with, like, one thing I do struggle with is, like, I get that, like, it's a deal, but that doesn't mean it has to be dirty. I don't know, personally I clean things, but at the same time I buy dirty things, so maybe I'm a part of the problem. I don't care too much, but I would definitely prefer it's been cleaned. And like me, I wouldn't sell anything that hasn't been cleaned. I don't know. I'm just curious what you kind of think, what your experience with Facebook Marketplace is, and in general, what your feelings are towards it. Have you sold? Have you bought? For the record, if you do want to buy some really cool rare plants, Facebook Marketplace is definitely something you have to get comfortable with. I don't even use Facebook. Like I said, I actually have an account that I just use for plant stuff. It is not a personal account. It's my alias, and I just use it for plant stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So honestly, yeah, like I think that is kind of all I wanted to say today. So thank you so much for watching. We're gonna be kitting out that enclosure that I cleaned in this video really soon. And also I'm really excited to paint the stand that came with it. Yeah, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!